Okay, like I was saying, I'm going to say it again here on the recording. A lot of you have got the financials done, and if you've received my blessings about the financials, you're in good shape. Your grade for that portion of the grade is going to be okay. Okay, I may not have graded your narrative yet. That's usually something I kind of like to shut myself away and get my tablet out so I can actually do some correcting and those types of things if there's some grammar or punctuation or those types of errors, and try to get those pointed out. Those are very important, by the way, as we go through this narrative portion. Okay, all of that's important. This needs to be a well-written document. Okay, this is not the type of it's not a research paper, so I don't anticipate that you're going to have a lot of resources. But please document, if you do get some information from someplace, document where you got it from, and I'm not concerned what the format of that documentation is. If it's right inside the narrative itself, that's fine. You don't have to have a bibliography or something. A bibliography may well even take away, from this type of a paper. So it's not a research paper, but if you do use a source, cite it, right, so I know where you got your information and whatnot. Okay, and I'll get the narratives kind of corrected. Hopefully in the next week, this weekend maybe I get some free time where I can sit down and take a look at those and point out things. But it should be a relatively short narrative, so I can't imagine that there's going to be a lot of correcting, or that it should take me forever. If you don't have your narrative and whatnot in the Dropbox, please get it in there ASAP. And if you have not received my full blessings for the financials, through the multi-year income statement and multi-year balance sheet, then we still need to be plugging away at that. So, okay, a couple things. Then I want to keep jumping ahead here, getting to work on the marketing. These are just some simple little things to think about. Okay, this talks about 11 steps. Okay, where are you now? I've given you some of these links on there, right? The Quick MBA marketing plan. This is kind of an either or, I would say. Okay, I've got the SWOT and Porter's 5 forces. I don't know that you want to do both of those necessarily. It'd be a lot of the same types of information. Okay, but do one or the other. Yes, you should at that point. If you look at the marketing outline that I gave you. Fit one of the two in there. I think it has the SWOT in there, but if you want to pull the SWOT out and do the Porter's 5 forces, feel free to do that. Think about your company philosophy and company culture. Okay, that kind of gets back to like your strategy, right? I mean, all that stuff's kind of incorporated. So think about what your strategy is going to be. And if you've heard me talk before, and many of you have, I really think there's two strategies. Either you're going to differentiate yourself, or you're going to be a low-cost provider. For most of us, we're going to differentiate ourselves, probably. Being a low-cost provider is a little bit tough for small businesses. It's nearly impossible for small businesses. I'm not going to say it is impossible, but it's tough for small businesses to try to be a low-cost provider. So most of us are going to be a differentiator. So think about that as you're putting your marketing plan together, right? What are you trying to accomplish with your marketing, right? Trying to generate traffic, name recognition. Are you introducing a brand new product or service? You will define your product or service. Now, we're going to get to a point here because you're going to do a business description, and within the marketing plan, they're both going to have a little bit of product description. Is there going to be some overlap there? Yeah. You're going to feel like when you get to the business description part that you're going to be a little bit redundant. Okay, it should be a little more thorough in the business description part as opposed to in the marketing portion. Okay, so I don't mind when you're defining your product or service here. I know I say in detail, but some of that you may actually save for the business description. Okay, and so here in the marketing portion, give me enough information about your product, service, whatever it is, that I know exactly what it is. Okay, you can save a lot of the details for the business description. And what's your market entry strategy? And that's the same thing. Are you coming in as low cost or differentiator? Again, for most of us, I would imagine we're going to be differentiators. Competition. We got to assess our competition and who they are, right? Who are they personally, right? Okay. name them, right? It's okay to name them in a deal like this, right? Okay, how many of them are there, right? How many other folks are doing the same thing? Your personal observations. Have you been to their place of business? If they have a place of business, have you used their service? Okay, you know, what do you think? I mean, are there things that you can improve on, right? How are you going to keep track of them? What they're doing? Are you going to what do they call it, mystery shop them or something like that, maybe? Hitting the target. Who's your target market, right? It's not okay for any of us. It's not okay to say that my target market's everybody. Okay, and everybody in here has a specific target market. You need to figure that out. Okay, who you're going to target mostly. You might have a primary, a secondary, you might even have a tertiary market. Okay, but you need to figure out who is your primary market, right? Okay. Because different, I can't even think, you know, even Walmart, who sells to just about anybody and everybody, right? Do you suppose that demographically they have a specific target market? Can you think of who it is for Walmart? It's typically low to middle income people, right? How about, here's one that might surprise you. Who's Costco's target market? Anybody know? I think they get all that bulk stuff in there. You would think that it's maybe lower or middle income people. It's actually,
businesses?
huh?
Would it be other businesses?
Actually, small businesses are a big market. I would think that's maybe their one or two. The other one is actually fairly wealthy people actually shop a lot at Costco, believe it or not. So, which I don't know if Costco thought that when they opened up. That might be a case, and we all might find that. We're going to name a market, and we're going to go out for that. I think Costco was probably gearing up for businesses and people that work at businesses, but maybe not so much the higher income types of people. But they found out that that's where high income people love to go to Costco. They love leaving with their shopping carts full of stuff, right? We can define it by different things, right? Age, gender, income level, marital status, geography. I think we talked about psychographic and behavioral, and I've got to go look those up myself if I'm going to write about those, but you guys might take a look at those if it fits your type of a product or service, right? You know, you guys in the fitness thing, you know, something like that, behavioral or psychographic, those types of things, you know. There's a market there, right? Because it's, you know, there's certain people that aren't attracted to, you know, that type of a deal. So, and beer might be the one I could say everybody should be. That you guys should have the big full target market, right? Bobby's not listening.
Sorry, what?
I said beer might be the only one that I say your target market could be everybody, but that would be incorrect too, right?
You can't really serve children.
No, I know it. No, and craft brews, I think, yours should be pretty easy to find. You know, I think that they have a pretty defined market throughout the country right now. So, research plan, right? From the best way to get there. You know, we're all going to default to the internet first. Okay. Other sources, though, could be bear pod development. The library's not bad. Do some demographic research. Okay, you're going to need to go to the Census Bureau probably. I'll be disappointed if many of you don't, because you need to find out if your target markets. I'll pick on beer. Guys 21 to 55. Okay, that may be the typical. I was just down there Friday and having a couple beers at the brewery, and it was probably 75% guys, and probably the dominant age was 40 to 60 would be my guess. Okay, now that's just could you do that for research? Absolutely. You know, go down to Triple Dog 3 or 4 times and see what my kind of research right there. If you need a little help, let me know. I might even help you out there. Okay, so you might do that, right? And that's your demographics, right? You try to figure out, you know, what's the general or the usual type of person that would go there. So you can do that type of research as well. Okay, library. What else? Felt like I was going someplace else, and then I forgot where I was going. I got off on beer again. Demographics, psychographics, psychology that goes into some of those things. Strategy for each goal. This is a case where I'd probably call it tactics for each goal as opposed to a strategy. To me, your strategy is more of an overarching thing, and tactics are more the individual things that you use. Messages, steps, what are you going to do, in what order, those types of things. Vehicles, or what types of advertising, if it's advertising, what types of marketing. There's other things that we can do that don't necessarily involve advertising, right? Okay, direct mail, pretty effective, right? Here's two where you guys got to help me out. Okay, you guys know that I'm completely inept at any type of social media, and I know that Lanny and I think Heather are starting to teach more in marketing about social media and how you use that for marketing. Help me out. Okay, you guys fill in some of those blanks for me because I don't do Facebook yet. Okay, my little guy does. If I need to get on and look at a little bit of Facebook, I can. Okay, but I don't. I know that that's for our ski hill. That's where most people are going to get their information now, right? So I know that it's an extremely valuable source, and so I do get that at least. And so the more that you guys put in there about those types of things, I think the better. Okay, even though I may not be somebody that you're probably not going to reach me doing that. So you also got to think, if I'm part of your target market, Bobby, and I would be, then you're going to have to think of ways to reach me maybe outside of Facebook too. So, although there's a lot in my generation that still they do Facebook and stuff because they stay in touch with their kids and grandkids and those types of things. So. Here's an example, right? Strategies: position myself as the market leader in home inspections. Okay, key messages, tactics: approach local community colleges about teaching a home buying class. Now you get your name out there, right? You write a little write-up for the newspaper, and it ends up in there, and it's a freebie. Our newspaper is really good if you want to write something up. Okay, if they don't have to go out and hire a reporter or send a reporter out to cover something, they're pretty happy about running it anyhow. Okay, so if you write something up, free publicity, right? Even if it is self-serving, they don't really mind that as long as you're putting in the stuff. So another example: propose a feature story to a local paper about 10 things to look for when buying a home. Great, right? Create a brochure entitled Secrets of Buying a Home. Those types of things, right? Issue a press release about the free brochure. Okay, and again, our newspaper, our radio does a lot of things like that. They've got what's it called? The Chancellor was just on there today, and I can't remember what the name of the program is. It's not Outlook. What is it? Having a brain freeze. But they've got a special program that they'll do, and they'll do for some new businesses and those types of things. Welcome to have her, and let's talk about it a little bit. So, budgeting. Okay, you're going to have to go back and look at your numbers. And this is a case where you might start getting into this, and you might realize that you didn't budget enough when you did the financials. Okay, that's okay. We can go back and change them. Your financials are not set in stone. If you need to go back and change them because you didn't budget enough for marketing, that's fine. Okay, no problems with that. Just make sure things still balance and all those things, right? What's that?
Insight look or something.
Yeah, Insight. That might be right. The name for the radio program. Insight might be it. So. Time your project. So set some things up, right? We're going to start small, maybe before we open. Let people know that we are opening. A lot of places, I tell you, a beer place like that. You're probably going to want to. What happened to Mike? Do you remember, Bobby, when he first opened? He ran out of beer.
You never said that to us.
Hmm?
You never told us that.
Yeah, he ran out of beer. He didn't realize what the demand was going to be, and so he opened his doors, and it was actually a fairly quiet opening. He didn't advertise it, but word spread like wildfire, and he ran out of beer. Ouch. Right? Now he's recovered and done just fine. He actually had to close up. He had to open for a few days. Everybody drank all his beer, and he actually had to close up for a couple of weeks to catch up on the brewing, and get back going again. So you kind of don't want to do that if you can. That was definitely a marketing faux pas on his part, but he's recovered, and it's been okay. So it's sort of kind of a nice problem to have, but it would have been It would have been a nicer problem if he'd have just been able to say, it was darn busy. I almost ran out of inventory, but I was able to keep my doors open for the 10 days or whatever. Okay, so you've got a to-do list, turn it into your document, right? How are you going to track then? Okay, another part of that, and I'm not sure if that's in the outline, but I think that's kind of important. How are you going to track some of your marketing initiatives? Okay, you know, sales. Some people like to use coupons and different things like that and see how they work, right? And there's nothing wrong with that. If you run a radio spot for a couple months, you know, can you keep track and see if maybe the new people that sign up for your fitness club, you know, do the number of registrations go up, you know, for those couple months that you're running. And you might even calculate a lag time, because a lot of times there's a month or two lag time for that type of advertising. You know, should you create some of those things? They're pretty simple to do, you know, to keep track, and so yeah, you probably should. So, okay, that's pretty quick. Let me run through mission statement. I think it's even quicker. Because yes, everybody needs to have a mission statement, right? Every organization ought to have one. It should be a purpose for your existence, right? Explaining why an organization exists and what it hopes to accomplish in the future. It may have a mission that's not articulated in a mission statement, but it should be, right? So sometimes we get a little bit confused, right? And that can happen. Sometimes our business just takes a different direction than what we expected. Even my Costco example is a little bit like that. Right? We may find out that we're serving a different customer than who we originally thought. Okay, that's fine. We might even want to consider changing our mission statement if that's the case. For you guys starting out, it's not going to be a big deal, right? It should be a short paragraph and free of gobbledygook. It does not need to be artsy, and maybe shouldn't be, unless your business an artsy type of business. Then it can have flowers and all that.
Gobbledygook.
Gobbledygook's a real word.
What does that mean?
Gobbledygook is, I would call a paragraph that runs on and on and on, full of gobbledygook. Okay? I'm pretty sure, look it up somebody for me. Hopefully I spelled it correctly. Gobbledygook.
Word recognizes it.
Word recognizes it? Okay. But it doesn't give you a definition necessarily.
Language that is meaningless.
Language that's meaningless. Yeah, there you go. So it's a beautiful term. I picked a really good word for that. Awesome. Okay, so 3 questions, right? What consumer needs? Oh, and then look at that. I got a bad. Do we address? It should be, not do we address. What consumer needs do we address? What's our purpose? How do we address those needs? What's our operations? And what guides our work? The principles, value, culture, you know, those types of things that we might have, right? Friendly. I mean, you know, think of some adjectives that come to mind there. Clean, friendly, you know, delicious, just different things like that, right? Here's Starbucks, right? Established Starbucks as the premier purveyor of the finest coffee in the world while maintaining our uncompromising principles as we grow. That's really their mission statement right there. Boom, it's that one sentence. Okay? And then it does say they've established 6 guiding principles that are going to help them measure that, right? Measure the appropriateness of their decisions. And so, you know, they've decided these were good. I like this because you get the mission statement in one sentence, right? You could put that on a banner that's over your doorway so you could read it on the way in. You could put that on the front of your business plan, right? The cover page of your business plan. It'd be kind of cool. It'd get my attention, right? But then you could still have this within it. Okay. This is a company that I like, is SAS. It's to empower organizations around the world with superior software solutions and services that give them the power to know, and they've even registered, right? Trademarked the power to know. Okay, we want to be the most valued competitive weapon in business decision making. So 2 sentences there. It might be a little long, okay, but it's not too bad. And you know, the fact that they've trademarked that, you know, those 4 words there is kind of impressive. So here's Google, right? Organize the world's information and make it universally accessible and useful. Pretty simple and sweet, right? And it pretty much fits. Although I would argue that Google's branching out from that now. right? They're getting into some other things, which is kind of interesting. So, Apple. Why did Apple Computers Inc. change its name to the one above? Anybody know?
Because they do more than just computers.
Yeah, because they were branching out. Yeah, yep. And so, yeah, and all I'm saying is that you may pick something now that 10 years from now could change, and that's fine. You know, we can't predict always what the future is going to bring us because things. In fact, Apple doesn't even hardly make computers anymore, do they? Which you'd define as like the MacBook, maybe. They make them, but it's a relatively small. I think it's just a infinitesimal part of their business, if I'm not mistaken. So, because they make so many smartphones and iPods and iPads, which aren't really considered computers. So, any questions about those things as you go to work on your marketing thing? Again, just to reiterate the advice a little bit, take out that outline, add to the outline, subtract from the outline. I don't have any problems with that. Ask me if you got some questions about it, but then start filling in, that outline and just start building your marketing plan from there. So.
Is the vision usually bigger than the mission statement?
Is the vision usually bigger than the mission statement? Yeah, probably. Probably. Okay, do you have to have both? No, not necessarily. Google, one sentence, boom. Nothing wrong with that. Okay. I think for some businesses, it's probably more important than others. Starbucks obviously thought it was because they really, they value their employees. I think some of the 6 things, they value their suppliers, and so they want to.
That was part of their vision statement then?
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, they call it their guiding principles. You could call it, different name, I guess, but similar. So, any other questions? Okay. How long did I take? Ooh.